What is fiction?
It means you make up a story and...
Non-fiction is true and fiction's not true.
And you use it with your...
imagination head.
The real world is way too difficult.
Do I think the fiction matters?
Yes.
Of course it matters.
Yes.
Yes. It has an effect, yes.
Does fiction matter?
Got my sassy pants on today.
Yes. What matters, fiction?
Yes.
Well, of course it does.
Does fiction
You
matter?
already asked me. Yes.
Do
While it was clear that yes, of course fiction matters, and that fiction is prominent in most people's lives, most of the people who I spoke with didn't have a definite explanation as to why it mattered to them, at least right off the top of their heads. And this is because fiction has been so deeply ingrained into our lifestyles, we don't even think of it as something that's importance needs to be measured because it is so much a part of who we are.
He could change the world with his hands behind his back.
Yes, I just learned that. I learned that fact from fiction. I learned that fact from fiction. I think it's a quote from Chuck Palahniuk.
Ooh, is Chuck Palahniuk a fiction writer?
He absolutely is. He writes novels.
And what did you learn from that?
I learned about relationships because I did not have too many friends because I was so reserved and I didn't talk too much to people in Harry Potter.
And then you found Harry Potter and you liked it, and you found other people who liked Harry Potter?
Yeah. And oh Jesus, that's awesome.
A historical fiction about World War II as opposed to reading a textbook, do you think they could learn better?
Yes, because it's more interesting. When you're reading a textbook, it's boring, so... Well, I personally, when I read a boring textbook, my mind, wanders off.
And you zone out.
Yeah, and then I actually don't read the material, fully, so I feel like if it's fiction, it's more interesting. I'll, learn better.
I think that people learn more from something that they're more invested in, like a fictional movie or a book or something. So, I think you would learn more from, a historical fiction novel about World War II as opposed to, reading a textbook about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think that you learn better from...
I think so, yeah, because I think it just kind of engages your interest, like
Right.
you said. And it's, if you read a historical textbook, it's just it's just telling us what happened, whereas historical fiction, ooh, something cool that happened.
Book now with my students called Chains about it's a historical fiction. That's one of the good things. I love historical fiction because I don't know a lot about history, and it's a great way to learn about history.
In English class last year, we read the book Fahrenheit 451, and it's about people in the future who burn books, so the government can control the people. So
what they learn.
Yeah, so they can't rebel against them.
Yeah.
So they can't think on their own. So that got me thinking into how much we really need our own thoughts.
And that's what's cool about a lot of fiction. You can write a story to make a statement about something, to make a statement about our country, but make it a fictional story.
Right thing, doing what's right, even if you have to make big sacrifices.
And that's what the occurring theme is.
Sometimes I do that, but I do it for my friends or my family, like Harry would in Harry Potter. So he makes big sacrifices for the sake of his friends because that's what he cares about most.
And even though he's a fictional character, you find yourself relating to him and learning from him.
Yes.
It may sound weird at first. Is the movie V for Vendetta, which was kind of for those who don't know, the movie is about basically just standing up against the government in the totalitarian world and everything. And what I got from that was really if there's something that you don't like, regardless of whether or not it's a boundary that you can't push, you as a human can do whatever you want to have. What it is that makes you happy, and you can speak up for yourself because you can. You're a human being no matter where you are. It pretty much made me just not hide back whatever I have to, say.
Okay, so that movie you're talking about was fictional?
Yeah.
And like that's cool because it's like it's not even real, but you can find that message in it when it's not even like a real thing that happened. Yeah. My point is that authors and screenwriters and anyone who creates a television show, they create something, and a lot of times it's to make like a point or to have a certain perspective. And I read an article and it was saying something about Modern Family and how a lot of people who watch Modern Family look at it and it's kind of putting gay people in like a regular family setting, and that a lot of people were just accepting it. It was something that they saw on TV, and even though it was fiction, it's helping them with their viewpoints on other aspects of life. What do you think of that?
I think that's pretty gay.
I am just a student, sir, and only want to learn. But it's hard to read through the rising smoke from the books that you like to burn.
Stephanie!
Do you think that fiction matters? Is it important to you in your life?
Stephanie, that's like asking me if lies matter.
What?
You just basically asked me if lies matter, and I said...
So you think fiction is lies?
It's telling things that aren't true, of course.
It's telling a story.
Is it the truth? It's not true, it's lying. That's why I said the only honest people in the world are small children and drunk people.
So you're pro nonfiction.
Why can't I give you cryptic answers? You're interviewing me, I get to answer you in any way I want.
So like a fictional story they would be more invested in than like a textbook?
Why is that?
Do you agree with that?
Society if kids aren't interested in the reality of life?
No. Do you agree? Do you think a lot of people? Do you think a lot of people who enjoy that show would be more likely to?
By that? I mean, I guess, yeah, because we're all sheep, yeah, and we do whatever we're told to do on television. Yep.
Bye. And books to like make a point about something in the world. Have you noticed that in anything that you've experienced watching or reading?
I hate reading. I don't think I ever read... No, I read like 1 or 2 books on my own. The rest were forced upon me by school.
I'm ending the interview in hostility. Let the record show that I am no longer participating in the interview.
Every now and then it's nice to escape the harshness of our sometimes bleak realities. And what better way than exploring the imagination?
I don't know where to begin. It just matters. Culture matters.
Why do you think it's important?
Because sometimes we have to forget about the real world. We have to say something different to relax.
We need a chance to express creativity either by reading or creating it, and I think that fiction is a good way to, like Pedro said, escape from the real world. Just kind of have a chance to kind of think of something interesting or read something interesting.
Because it makes people like realize that there's other things than what you really see in the world. Like there's other things you can imagine and maybe escape from reality if you need to be, to let you, just explore things and learn about things that you probably never would have known had not been in the real world. You know what I mean?
Fiction is more interesting than nonfiction, and like encourages like imagination and stuff.
Imagination with both hands.
Are you ready, Georgia?
Yes.
Are you ready for your close-up?
Yes.
Remember when SpongeBob and Patrick were playing in the box using their imaginations?
Yep.
And they were playing games even though they didn't have toys to play with, they were still playing because they were using their imagination?
Yep. And tomorrow I'm gonna try doing that.
You are?
Yeah.
What does that show you? What did that episode of SpongeBob show you? That you can have fun without toys, right?
Yes.
And all you need is your...
imagination.
Okay, so what movie did you watch earlier today?
Piano.
So it was about a fish, and a kid found the fish, and the fish's dad hated humans, right?
Yep.
And why did he hate humans?
Because he thought they were
And why did he think that they were disgusting?
Because he thought they were disgusting and they weren't.
Because they're different than him?
Yeah.
So he hates someone that's different than them. And what's something that he wouldn't do at the beginning of the movie? Do you remember?
Not shaking his hand.
And what did we talk about shaking your hand means?
Respectful and kind.
Right, if you're willing to shake someone's hand, then you're being nice to them, right?
Yep.
And he wouldn't do that at the beginning because he didn't like them.
Yep.
And why didn't he like them?
Because they were different
Than him. And at the end, what does he decide to do?
shake the boy's hand.
So at the end of the movie, he shook the boy's hand because he decided that maybe he wasn't so bad after all, right?
Yep.
So he learned something in that movie, and what did he learn?
He learned respectful and kind.
He learned to be respectful and kind to people even if they're different from you, right?
Mhm.
And do you think that you learned from that movie too?
Yep, and I'll tell you about his hair. He had purple hair that was and it was long. But
You learn that sometimes when you see people who are different from you, what should you do?
should do the same.
And what's that? Be nice to them?
Yep,
So you shouldn't not like someone just because they're different from you, right?
yep,
You should give them a chance, right?
yep.
Right. So can you tell me in your own words what you learned from Ponyo? No, what did you learn?
I learned shaking people's hair.
You learned that maybe you shouldn't think that someone's bad just because they're different from you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you should get to know them, right?
Yep, and learn them.
Because even if they're different from you, they might not be so bad after all.
Yep.
Yep. And did you like Ponyo? Was it fun to watch?
Yeah.
All right, say bye-bye.
Bye.
Georgia did a fabulous job in her interview, but we must remember that she is only 4 years old. This was a great example of why fiction is so important in the lives of young people, because there are so many teachable moments within children's television, movies, and literature that allow the parents to take advantage of these learning opportunities. Not only are they entertaining and enjoyable for the child, children's fictional literature is designed so that the child is able to learn from the movie or from the text because the culture's customs and values and moral expectations are ingrained within them. Georgia is obviously too young to completely understand the entire concept and underlying themes in Ponyo on her own, but with the help of an adult who can walk her through it, she's able to develop a better understanding of it.
Like Harry Potter. That's awesome.
After Harry Potter, because I grew up with Harry Potter, he's my role model.
Yes, fiction can be used to teach people and to prove points and to expand on ideas, but one of the most important reasons of all is the idea that it's a common factor in the lives of many people. Fiction brings people together in ways that other things can't. Someone is able to enjoy a piece of fictional literature and have their life changed just from the words of another. The connection that these two people now share cannot be bought or measured because it is not a material thing. It comes from inside of you. Inside of your heart and mind and soul lies something greater than joy or friendship or even love, because it's in our imagination, which has the ability to create any of these things and more, sharing them with anyone you'd like, sharing them with the world and changing lives as fiction does.